What's up, traders? Hope you guys are doing well. Zach here with the Trading Network, and I'm coming at you all with another daily market profile recap. This video is going to be a little interesting because A, it is election day, so we have a lot to talk about, and B, I actually took a few scalps in Globex session, which I usually do not do, so I'll give you guys a look at some of my trades that I took this evening as well. So with that said, let's dive into the trade plan. And for those who are not familiar, I release these trade plans right here every day in our free Facebook group, which you can find in the description below. And for those who are familiar, let's dive right into the key levels. Key levels for today were the 11.3 overnight high at 33.49.75, the October 29th range high at 33.33.75, the November 2nd overnight high at 33.22.50, the November 2nd value area high at 33.0875, and the November 2nd settlement price at 3,350 cents. Now, we obviously had a very or extreme high impact news event today, which was the U.S. presidential election. And although we did not get results, of course, I actually sat on my hands because I wanted to observe the market action and just really kind of be an observer today as a whole. So I did not take any trades. Again, like I mentioned, I did take a few trades in the Globex session here. But I enjoyed sitting on my hands and just watching price action actually move very nicely throughout our profile levels. So let's get into my thoughts from this morning. I saw that overnight inventory was long, and overnight inventory is long when the overnight price action is above the settlement price. So you can see we have the 11.2 settlement here at 3,350 cents. Now when the overnight inventory, as you guys know who've been watching my videos, is above settlement, the overnight inventory is 100% net long. So you can see if I remove my drawings here, here's where settlement was, and the entire overnight price action profile was above settlement. So with that, when overnight inventory is long, as some of you guys may know, we look for pressure to the downside as that is the highest probability play. So I said that I will be looking for acceptance above the November 3rd overnight volume point of control at 33.40.75. So right in this area is the highest volume node, and this is the closest area to where we actually opened, which is why this was my line in the sand. So my thoughts were that I was going to be looking for the higher probability play, which was for New York to fade the overnight to the downside. But if price could hold that overnight VPOC as support, I would be looking to take longs up to higher profile levels. And on the downside, if we could not hold above that level, I would be looking for downside targeting levels from yesterday's profile. So moving on to the shorter breakdown, you can see that I just reiterated what I said above essentially, where I mentioned upon open, I was looking to see if we could get acceptance above that 33.40.75 level, which was the overnight VPOC. If we can hold above that level, I was going to be looking for a move back to the overnight high and the higher weekly profile levels. If we did not hold above that level on open, I was going to be looking for shorts down towards yesterday's lower profile levels. So you can see here, this is where I specify my upside and downside targets. Upside targets were 46.50, 49.75, 52.75, and 63.75. Downside targets were 33.75, 23.50, 19, 33.0875, and 3,350. So going back to the profile now, let's take a look at what actually happened compared to what we wrote in the trade plan. So you can see right here, we opened. Here is O period, which is the opening price. We opened right here around 37, a little bit under this overnight volume point of control. We did what is referred to as an open, test, and drive in market profile terms, where we open, we are exploring or probing below a major level, which was the overnight high. We are not seeing higher time frame selling pressure when we are probing below this overnight high, and then we get picked up very quickly above the overnight volume point of control and the overnight high. And you can see because of this single print buying tail, we actually never revisited this level throughout the entire rest of the session. So this is something very interesting that you can gain from learning about market profile. There are different strategies and different profile structures or opening types that will give you indication for how price is going to move in the beginning of the session or even throughout the rest of the entire New York session. So with that, we opened here. We worked above that 33.49 level, so we did not spend very much time at all below the overnight VPOC and the overnight high. When I saw that we did not spend very much time, I thought that it was even more likely that we were going to be revisiting these previous weekly profile levels higher. So you can see here on the trade plan that my first downside target was 33.4650. Now 33.4650 was a point of control, going back to the profile here, from the week of September 28th. Now this was a major weekly profile level because it was also in the middle of this gap that we discussed in our weekly profile forecast. So that was my first upside target because I thought that if we worked above the overnight high, that was a very likely area for us to go as we hadn't been back in that area since late last week. So that target was hit very quickly. And our second target was 33.4975. Now 33.4975, this was a level from the session profile. And you guys can see here that 33.4975 was the overnight high from last night. So that was a fairly easy target for me to spot out because, you know, if we move above the VPOC that I was looking at, you know, at that 33.40 level, that I thought it was very likely we were going to at least test the overnight high, and you can see we did a lot more than that. So third downside target after we reached that overnight high was 33.5275, and if I'm not mistaken, that was also a weekly profile level. Let me just double check here. It was not. So 33.5275 was actually a Fibonacci pivot level. And I do not have that, excuse me, on my chart at the moment because the Fib pivots shift after the session closes. But that was basically a good in-between target that I could gather between this 49 target, the 33.49 target, and the 33.63 target, which was indeed a weekly profile level. So 33.5275, that was a Fibonacci pivot level, and I do like to use Fibonacci pivot levels in combination with VWAP deviation levels for targets if I don't have a substantial profile level in between two major levels that I'm looking to target. So let me just double check here. 63.75, yes indeed. So going back to the profile, you can see here that we have 33.6375 as our value area low from the week of October 5th. So this was a nice upside target for me because we closed the gap at this point. We closed this gap right here from the weekly profile, moving back into this value area low range from, once again, the week of October 5th. So that was actually my last upside target. In hindsight, I probably should have added another target at 75 here, 33.75, which was the value area high from last week because we got really good reaction off of that. But I was expecting, you know, a little bit more of a relaxed day, a shorter range, smaller range, if you will, and that's certainly not what we got. And I got to take what the market gives me. And when it comes down to it, it doesn't really matter what I think, especially on a day where, you know, I'm taking the day off. But when it comes down to it, we don't trade our opinion. We trade what the market shows us, and we trade the information that's on the charts. So with that said, we had 4 out of 4 upside targets hit. Let's see, 3 out of our, or actually, I'm sorry, 4 out of 4 of our targets were hit within, let me just make sure that I have my time correct here. All 4 targets were hit within the first hour of New York session, So once all those targets got hit, obviously I was sitting on my hands and not trading today, as that was my plan before market open. But it was very interesting to watch because although a lot of people expected volatility, although a lot of people expected erratic price action, we actually moved very, very nicely back and forth throughout these profile levels. So I'm going to switch back to the regular chart here, and we'll just take a look at how nicely price ended up moving through these profile levels today. So you can see that in the overnight session and the pre-market, price created this nice little downtrend, and we have a clear downwards trend line, or a probe, as we like to call them. And you can see the price rejected off the probe several times. Obviously when it was formed up at this clear resistance level, that was a combination of the overnight high from the 3rd and a weekly POC from September 28th. So we rejected that. We rejected this level several times, and we did what is referred to as a break and retest on the probe. So you can see that we broke the probe here, we retested, bounced, and used this level as support. Now this is a very high probability play, especially when combined with something like momentum oscillators like this. So you can see, just as an example, the momentum oscillators began to curl up and cross up as price began to break this downwards trend line. Used it as support and proceeded to get picked up very, very nicely. So this is something that you'll see very often, especially using something like our indicator package, where you'll be able to combine market profile levels with precision oscillators that give you high probability and precise entries, essentially. So you combine the best of both worlds with the bird's eye view of the market in regards to market profile, and then you take these oscillators and these indicators like the VWAP deviations and the opening range indicators and Fibonacci pivots, and you start to see things like this line up. So we have VWAP lining up with the range low from November 3rd. While you have that happening, you also have divergence taking place, right? You get higher lows on the oscillator and lower lows on price. And then you get the local low put in with the candlestick structure. The price rips. So this is the type of trade that I'm looking for. I'm using my market profile, I'm using my indicators, and I'm using everything together to give me the absolute highest probability trades that I can find. So with that said, let's move up, and I will show you guys some trades that I actually took here in the overnight session. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to enlarge this, get rid of that in the background, and we will dive in a little bit. Okay, so I was just scalping around here. Again, I didn't trade today at all, and I had some mentorship sessions where I was at my computer a little late working with some people actually in Asia. So I thought that I would take advantage of this overnight volatility that we usually don't get very often. So this actually was not a great trade in hindsight. I was looking for a little bit of a bounce. I saw divergence here. So I saw the higher low on the oscillator. I saw the lower low on price action. And I was just a little bit late. So I entered on this candle. I wanted to enter as soon as this candle closed. This would be more ideal because that confirms the divergence. But my entry was too late, and I ended up getting filled in here. So I just ended up closing it. That was essentially a scratch trade. Maybe I made I think I made 1 point on one of my entries, and then scratched the other one. So that wasn't a great trade. I didn't like what I see, and when I don't like what I see, I scratch my trades quickly. So then I saw that we clearly started to uptrend, and I wanted to take advantage of that by using one of my favorite trending strategies, which is referred to as the opportunity zone. And the opportunity zone was right here. So you can see that I bought right as price came into the opportunity zone. As price came into the opportunity zone, my momentum oscillator started to curl up, which gave me a good indication that price was likely to continue upwards. So I only took, I think, a little under 2 points on that one. So just quick scalps. I was only using 2 contracts, so fairly small size tonight. And same thing right here. I just got in for one, took 2.5 points on that, just a little op zone scalp. Another scalp here, same situation where we actually had bullish divergence in an uptrend, which is very high probability. So anytime I see bull div into the direction of a trend I'm interested in, I'll get into a trade, especially if it's in or around the opportunity zone. So this was another quick little scalp. Price was moving very, very quickly. So I was just taking, 1-2 points at a time here and there. So another 2 point trade. Here's another trade that I took, same situation. I was a little bit early, to be honest. I should have waited for this candlestick structure right here to confirm that buyers were stepping in when I had that momentum moving up a bit more. So jumped the gun on that. I gave myself, I believe, a decent stop loss because did ended up taking some heat on that and ended up closing at 34.22.25, 34.23.25. So next trade was another little scalp here. Same situation, looking at the oscillators curling and crossing up. Similar to this setup where I was just a little bit early. So you can see here the oscillators weren't ready. Then if I move my mouse, you can see right here the oscillators start curling up and telling me that momentum is moving to the upside, which is what I want. So momentum here was indeed moving to the upside already. So this was a good entry. I had my stop loss below there. And I think that was very likely my last trade. So that was, let's see, first trade I took. So that's basically a scratch trade. That first trade I took at 7:20 my time, and stopped trading at 8:27 my time is when I closed my last trade. So about 775 bucks before fees, $622.60 after fees, and in about an hour. So I'll take that in a volatile Globex session anytime that the market will give it to me. And like I said, typically I don't take trades in this session, and I typically will not use size at all if I'm trading in this session. So that's why you see me take trades with 1 or 2 contracts and pull it in rather quickly in this instance, because I'm just trying to scalp around, just trying to pick up little bits and pieces here and there. New York session is really where I thrive, essentially. That's where I'm most comfortable. That's where I find myself having the most edge. So that's where I'm putting on size. That's where I'm swinging the bat a little bit harder. If I'm trading in the overnight sesh, then I'm usually I'm keeping it chill, using small size and scalping around where I see opportunity. And if I can grab an extra $600-700 in an hour, I'll do it. So with that said, I hope you guys enjoyed a little bit more of a look not only into the market profile with the daily recap, but some of these trades that I took in the overnight session. Again, I usually don't do this, but we had a ton of volatility due to the election tonight, so I figured I'd do a little scalping for about an hour or so in between mentorship calls. So let me know what you guys think. If you guys want to see me show more of my actual trade entries and exits and things like that, I would love to know, because I would love to help you guys progress in your trading journey. With that, please check out the description below where you can find our free trade plans, which you saw in this group. You can also find access to our website where you can find the fundamentals of futures trading, which is our brand new comprehensive course on trading futures. You can also find packages with the fundamentals of futures trading that include our proprietary indicator package. You can find our standalone proprietary indicator package also on our website, as well as access to one-on-one mentorship with me. I offer 2-week, 4-week, and 10-week programs where we work together one-on-one for an hour a day, and I help you grow and learn my strategies to become a consistently profitable trader. So once again, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next video.